Joining me is the manager of Opposition Business, Paul Fletcher. What have you made of that protest, now resolved, thankfully, and safely for the police too?
Well, it is extremely troubling to see protesters being able to get into Parliament House. Just watching your story about the way they got in, that's very, very troubling. But it's also very troubling that we are seeing these kind of sentiments being expressed, and the question needs to be asked, is that because that's been encouraged by at least some politicians in this place?
What do you mean? Can you elaborate on that?
Well, what I mean by that is that we've seen, particularly from the Greens political party, very considerable equivocation about where they stand, what their involvement has been in encouraging all kinds of protests and breakdowns of civil order.
So you'd hope the Greens, they're about to hold it, I think they're holding a news conference shortly on, and will be asked about this. You'd hope they'd condemn this behaviour.
You certainly would. Let's wait and see, because their record on all these issues has been absolutely terrible. We also need to see strong leadership from the Prime Minister, and of course what we need to do is find out as quickly as possible what happened, and we also need to make sure that those who did carry out this conduct are charged, that this is serious stuff, and the rule of law needs to prevail here.
Yeah, it's not just, I mean, the banners are one thing, and as you and your colleagues have said, they're anti-Semitic slogans and so on that are used, and the suggestion that war crimes are enabled in the Australian Parliament, that's pretty low stuff. But this is also, the thing here is the breach of security, which is a significant one.
It is a very significant breach, and we need to understand how it happened. But what we also need to understand that this is reflective of some of the challenges we've seen to civil order and stability in this country since October the 7th, going back to the disgraceful conduct of a number of people on the forecourt of the Opera House shortly after October the 7th. We need to see very strong and clear leadership from the Prime Minister and the government on this. The opposition is very clear. We absolutely condemn.
The Prime Minister condemned very quickly
as he should have done
the desecration at the memorial and at the electoral offices. He has been quite swift in those condemnations where people have gone too far. And you also have a democracy where people are allowed to protest.
Sure, lawful protest, but not desecrating war memorials and not breaching the security of Parliament House. And who's to know what their intentions might have been? What was done was bad enough. It could have been even worse. So this is a very serious incident. It needs to be properly investigated as quickly as possible. If the security resources of Parliament House or processes need to be reinforced, then let's consider that. But certainly we need to first find out what happened, and we need to be very clear. All political leaders need to be absolutely clear in condemning this behaviour.
And finally, Senator Payman looks like, I'm going to go live to the Greens in a moment, but Senator Payman looks like there'll be some announcement today, and at this point, outside of the Labor Party, and looks like she'll remain there.
This saga has gone on for well over a week. We've seen very unclear leadership from the Prime Minister on this.
He suspended her.
Ultimately, he flip-flopped several times before he got to that point. So this is yet another test of the leadership of a, frankly, pretty weak Prime Minister.
Paul Fletcher, thank you.